What's going on, people? Welcome to Live Palace News. It's been about 2 weeks since I've said that. Well, it feels like it anyways. I'm joined by T here to discuss all the latest Palace news updates that's been happening over the weekend. And also today, we got Joachim Andersen on the agenda. As you can see from the title, Newcastle, could they be going for him in January? Should we be worried? And more, as well as Jake O'Brien. An update on the transfer involved with that in terms of the contract details. We're hearing that there's a sell-on clause now, so we'll talk about that as well. But as always, we want you involved, so let us know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Like and subscribe. We're only about 70 away from 4,000. Share it to a friend. Let's get to 4K soon as possible. T, how you doing, my man? You got a flag waving. Rightly so. After that 1-0 win as well. What have you made of like today? There's been a few stuff coming about. O'Brien, Joachim Andersen was, to be fair, yesterday. You've been enjoying the news?
To an extent. I mean, I think it's good news that you got guys that are being wanted by other clubs. But it's one of those things for me. I mean, it's good to hear that people are interested, but you know, when and where that happens matters. I don't think that they can expect to possibly get him in January. I don't see that one happening for sure, but you know, I think it's a product of how well he's been playing.
Yeah,
and you know, happy to hear the stuff about Jake O'Brien. I mean, he got his first start over there for Lyon, and you know, I wish certain things could have been different, but you know, happy for him either way though.
Yeah, so according to the Football Insider, in terms of the actual report, is that Newcastle are closely monitoring Joachim Andersen ahead of the January transfer window and are expected to make a fresh bid for him. Over the summer, there were reports about Newcastle still being interested in Andersen, but the fee was around £30 million, which got rejected. That's what we heard. And now they're after him once again. They've had, a long interest in him as well. And apparently he remains Newcastle's top targets in the upcoming window. So, T, you said that Andersen won't go in the January transfer window, but he made an interesting comment, and it was recent as well, about him wanting to play on a top level. I remember, I think it was before like a Premier League game. I think he spoke to the Premier League, and, he has high expectations. He's at an age, basically, where he needs to make that move sooner rather than later. Don't you have any sense of worry about him leaving in January? Why are you so confident that he will be staying?
Because I think, well, first of all, I think Crystal Palace knows firsthand how hard it is to do business in the January window. And with the difficulty that comes with that comes the elevated prices and things like that. So, number one, we're not going to sell him for cheap. They're going to have to pay a premium for him to get him at this point. So that's a hurdle in itself. But then also the fact that we're probably going to want to be shrewd enough to say, hey, do we want to get rid of one of our top guys in the middle of the season and then have to worry about replacing him, bringing in other people, filling in on the back end, which has never been something that we've done very well. So those two things together, I just don't see it happening.
Would it? Let's say there's an offer around 40 or 50 million pounds. Does that change your perspective? So no money. No money.
Not at all. Not at all. That's not enough. That's not enough.
How much would be enough for you to see,
to start the conversation? 60 or 70 to start the conversation.
Ooh, yeah.
Because that's the thing about it, that's the price that other teams would be looking at for a player of his caliber to make a move. If we were other clubs. Yeah, if we were other clubs looking to move a guy on like that, no way. Like you got guys like Levi Colville that would have gone for that much money, or look how much they paid for Sven Botman, who was less proven at the time of going to Newcastle. Like, Joachim Noah is proven on multiple levels, and like you got to pay the freight.
Yeah, for me, it's a case of he's one of the better, defenders in the Premier League. I truly believe that. He's underrated, but I think slowly people are clocking onto him. Of course, that the report is funny in itself, because the fact that it's coming after his goal against United makes me question it. in terms of, Joachim Andersen's got that hype. He scored that goal against United, and now you want to put out a story related to him. But I do think there is an interest from Newcastle. I wouldn't be surprised at all because there was over the summer. Right. But as you said, it's about, it depends on what we're doing in that moment. But right now, we're having a decent start to the season, considering injuries as well. So if we keep this form going, you don't want to lose a player like Andersen, especially when Roy Hodgson was complaining about injuries as well. And also on top of that, do you think if we was to lose Andersen, do you think one of Richards or Holding can be a suitable replacement for, let's say, 6 months if he was to leave in the first place? Or do you think we have to go directly and get a replacement straight away?
No, I definitely think they could. I mean, I think Richards alone could. It's just always with him. It's just a matter of availability and how healthy he is. I mean, when he's healthy, Richards is a starting caliber center back. That's just my opinion, and I think he's shown that every time he steps onto the pitch for us or for his country. I think it's more a matter of what it looks like. What's up here? Appreciate it, man. I think it's more of what it looks like for us as far as our plans moving forward. Because say in the event that we sell him in January, that means you have your top three being Gahey, Richards, and Holding, with then Tompkins as your fourth. I think that is a solid stable to carry you for the rest of the year if you don't make any moves right away, which, knowing us, that would be the case. We wouldn't be bringing someone in immediately. So I think that we definitely would have enough to get us to, that last 6 months to get us to the summer. I think it's just the priority that we put on the position after that. And, I think if Richards plays well and stays healthy for the rest of that season, maybe you're just looking for depth, and you're not looking for necessarily another starting caliber guy. Maybe you're just looking for depth at that point. But
yeah, well, look at the impact that he had against United, and I'm not even just talking about the goal. Him and Mark Gahey, there was a massive difference in levels between Holding and Richards and Gay and Andersen. And I've said that for a long time. I think both of them complement each other's games fantastically. I think Andersen's a fantastic ball-playing defender. I think Mark is as well. But for me, I'll pick Andersen over Mark. In terms of passing anyways, I think Mark is very strong on the ball and can dribble up the pitch. And we've seen numerous times. And they are both like one of the best centre-back pairings in the Premier League. Like, I'm not shy about saying that.
Absolutely. I'm not at all.
And Mitch made a point saying that if you lose him in January, you have to pay a premium, because that's what we always talk about, right? In January, you often have to pay a premium. So for me, premium price, I agree with you. A premium price for Andersen would be around £6 million, especially if we keep on this level that we're pushing towards. I don't want to lose Andersen this January window. I don't want to lose Andersen full stop. But if we was to lose him, I'd prefer losing him over the summer, so we have a bit longer time to find a replacement for him. And also, you don't want to mess up the momentum as well right now, what we have going. There's a long time between now and January. There's going to be a lot of games being played. We might end up being 14th. We might also end up being 5th or 6th in January or 7th. Who knows? I don't know with Palace, especially when players come back from injury. So right now, for me, if we're selling Joachim Andersen in January, Newcastle, you have the money. So either pay up or stay at home.
That's another thing. And that's another thing. Look at who we're talking about that's interested in him. It's Newcastle. And if it's one thing we know that they got,
that's stuff. Yeah. One thing they've got, 100%. Yeah, that's definitely
talk dirty to me. Talk money. Talk. So talk more bucks. Jay-Z said it best. Come on, let me see something.
Exactly. You can't be moving cheap when you're that rich as well. Especially in January, if you want him that badly. If you don't, then you can hold on to the summer. 60 minutes seems about right. Years of Premier League experience, was at Fulham too. Not the quickest, but leader and an awesome passer, can clearly shoot too. Tim saying we also have Andersen on £80,000 a week, which is reported, which is awesome for a defender of his caliber. He also adds saying, I think Gay and Andersen are helping Richards level up. I've noticed Richards' play for the US men's national team has improved a lot since he's been at Palace as well. Molokto, I think it is 17, says 6 million in January. No, added 20%. Interesting. So add 20% to that.
So if we're adding 20%, he's going closer to 70.
70, yeah. 70 million pounds.
Yeah. I mean, dude, think about it is, if we're gonna lose somebody like him in the January window, If we get 70 million, we set ourselves. He literally funds our summer window, like in one purchase, like literally.
Yeah,
You know what
exactly.
I mean? Like
that's a lot of money, and that's an offer you have to take. You will have to take that offer because that's a lot.
I don't think anybody.
But I don't think Newcastle will pay that much.
That one.
I don't think Newcastle pay that much. There's also that. Jane Production says if Maguire was £80 million, I expect more from Joachim Andersen. Social, funny enough, says take the money. He's the only person who said take the money. Well, I guess he's talking about 60, 70 million pounds. I
think take the money comes into play when you find out how much money we're talking about. Because if it's 30 or 40 million, you can keep your money.
Yeah, 100%. Look, for me, I think Joachim Andersen has a great start. And Hemedal says currently the highest rated centre back in Europe's top 5 leagues. That is high praise. But I think he's one of the best centre backs in the Premier League. I do.
Men lie, women lie, numbers don't.
Yeah, exactly.
My man,
and the eyes on as well. You watch him play, you understand. Literally, he's there. He's there for the showing. All you have to do is watch Andersen play. If you're neutral, I think as Palace fans, we know how good Andersen is as well. 100 million plus. Check. He's elite. Check the graphic. I just uploaded to your tweet. I'll check that, Jerry. How long has he got left on his contract? This is a very good question. How long has he actually got left?
I think we have until 26 June 26th.
So yeah,
Tim just confirmed it here.
Yeah,
joins 3 more years, June 26th. So with that being said, even more because he's not close to being done. So that also keeps the level elevated. The money.
Yeah.
The money
in terms of right now, I think that was who was it that said that? Who said? Check the tweet. Oh yeah, it's Jerry. Jerry also tweeted at Back of the Nest as well. Follow me and T on our normal personal accounts as well if you want to hear more Palace stuff. Andersen right now, in terms of I think who scored this is, he's rated one of the best in Europe. I think seasonal. XI, Cancelo's at right back, Kunde and Andersen centre half. You got Alphonso Davies there. You got Mbappe, Bellingham, Madison, Sane, and you got Joachim Andersen there in terms of defenders. So
that is elite. Company.
That's elite. So exactly, and that's why there will be more interest than just Newcastle as well. Preston saying I can see Mark Gay following Andersen was to leave as well. I think that's why I wouldn't want it to happen in January because it makes things a bit sticky. But yeah, if you want to have an elite player as it is right now, then you have to pay up for an elite player. It doesn't come cheap. Now let's move on to the second bit of news today, people. I'm pretty sure we're gonna have more Palace news in the coming weeks or coming days from here onwards because transfer stuff, you can tell like it's slowly starting. Now that we've entered October, you got the January window.
Yeah, once you get into the cooler months, man, once you get into October, November, is when you realize that the new year is right around the corner and that window is gonna be right back open again.
Yeah, exactly. And we're right back. And it's literally like a month break until things go back to normal. And I think we're going slowly back to normal in terms of latest news for Palace. And the following was for Jacob Bryan. So of course he got sold for barely nothing over the summer. You know, there was lots of talks about why did we sell him for that much, but I think it was due to him not wanting to sign a new contract potentially.
Yeah, him being in only 1 year left.
Playing first in football. So there's a sell on. So there's a sell on clause for Jacob Bryan according to the Eagles Beak, who's another Palace social media platform as well. However, there's not a buyback clause. The sell on clause is not notified. But T, in terms of a sell on clause, I think that's expected, right? Hopefully, it's a nice figure. But when you sell a player for that cheap, you need to have.
You gotta have something. You gotta have some way of seeing a substantial amount of money coming your way at some point. So sell on. If we couldn't get the buyback and be able to get him back and use him, sell on clause is a good way for us to see a good amount of money being made off of his good fortunes, hopefully with Leon. So
yeah. Let me quickly answer this question from Pete. Pete always saying, check out the Loaded Mag NUFC. That's a host there. Haven't heard anything myself. So I guess in the Newcastle side of things is quiet. So Pete, over the summer, Joachim Andersen was linked to Newcastle. Pretty sure you've heard that. But on Sunday there was a report from the Football Insider once again that Newcastle are interested in January. Now we're not too sure whether that's just hype around his goal and trying to put a story out there. But there could be some truth to it as well. I could see something like this. But then again, would Newcastle pay the price that Palace would want in January? That's another thing that we're not too sure about. But make sure to check out the Loaded Mag NUFC for all the best Newcastle content people, because they got a big game tomorrow. they got PSG tomorrow, so yeah, they're playing in the big boy league. Bullock saying, Kim, if a club can buy a pair of them, it is big bucks, but class guarantee for the next 3 seasons. Yeah, that's on Joachim Andersen. But yeah, going back to Jacob Bryan, look, there should be a selling clause. Hopefully, he's in the region of 15 to 20 million, 20%, not 20 million percent. That'll be
I couldn't see it being less than 10%. So it should be decent if we can. I guess it all depends on how well he does and how much he goes for. You know what I mean? But somebody comes in and
talk about Lyon. They're bottom of the league.
He started. Yeah, they're
bottom of the league. There's been a lot of, a lot of people that are Texter, massive. They want Texas to run the club. They used it for a long time about, Texas clubs doing well. But so far, especially a club like Lyon, they're not T. They're not. And a lot of people are now using that against the people that do want Texas to run the club. So what do you make of all of that?
It seems like Texter is really dealing. He's in the midst of damage control right now, because apparently taking over from Jean-Michel Lewis has a lot of issues. I mean, they literally had to fire sale a lot of their most talented players in order to try and make up for money that's owed. So I think that was something they probably didn't plan on doing earlier on. And they had, as a effect of that, they had to go out and try to buy and bring in so many new players from the guys that they lost. So it seems like they having a cohesion issue. Like, a lot of these guys have come from different places and they just trying to get it figured out, trying to make it work. Brand new coach. They had to fire the manager. So there's a lot of things in play for them that's making this season in particular tough. But
does that change your perspective on John Textor? Any of this, short term?
No, not necessarily on John Textor. No, I just know that it's been a tough situation there, in particular with that team taking it over, because it sounds like they had a lot of financial stuff that was being covered up prior to him being there, that was going on unmonitored and not taken care of. Because you can see that he's having success in other places at a high level with this other team. So it seems like it's just an isolated issue with this team.
I think it's for owner that hasn't been in football for a long time and owns a few clubs from all around the globe. I think it's more of a hiccup. But I've said this all along without going too much into the ownership thing, because of course it's not Palace related that Lyon is struggling. John Textor is new in the game. I don't think John Textor will solve everything. I don't think one of these owners will solve all our issues. I wouldn't give the keys to Harrison Blitzer. Maybe John Textor sells a plan. I would be interested to hear it, but I'm not too sure if he has the money. And Steve Parish, we already know, like, he doesn't have the money as it is. So for me, if there was a change in ownership, I think it should be, a fresh reset, because right now it's just confusing. There's always pros and cons. Every other day we hear something new about all the owners. So I'm not really picking sides. I would rather have a genuine reset. But if there's anything about John Textor related to Palace, which there was, which I was going to bring on Tim about it, in January, I think Tim mentioned as well that there might be, instead of the SPAC, it might be like a publicly traded company. That might happen, but if further details come around that, then 100% we'll try to discuss it in a bit more detail. Pete, thank you for the support. Newcastle versus Palace. You know what that means? 0-0 game. Clean sheets for both teams. 100%. Listen to what Bollocks is saying. Hit the like button, people, and subscribe if you're new here. Share it as well with friends and family. Let's get to 4,000 subscribers. Social saying he's cooking the books. I'm not too sure if that's the case. I don't know what's exactly going on there. I haven't looked too much.
The books was already cooked. He's trying to straighten that shit out. Sound like
exactly. There's nothing left to cook. Tim saying, yeah, sound like a giant mess, but we don't know how Texas will handle this. We need to see his response and agree with Mitch. Watch for how this affects Palace as well. Is it likely that Lyon business will affect us? I don't think so. It shouldn't affect us. But we're talking about shareholder that holds significant value in the club. Well, we know that he's already questioned whether he has a long-term future at Palace alongside with Harrison Blitzel, who've been linked away because of that interview in Athletic. He said it. He said that he kind of doesn't like how Palace is being run in terms of not. He's given a lot of credit to Steve and Doug Friedman, but he wants to be more hands-on. So he's already
spoke
said
of he spoke of regrets. He spoke of regrets, like, and it's a real thing.
Yeah. So I mean, we'll see what that means in the near-term future. But it wouldn't surprise me if he was to walk away from Palace. But for now, I don't think this Lyon business really affects us in any kind of way, especially in the short term. But look, if he doesn't get what he wants, he could easily try sell on and move on, and that would be interesting to see how the ownership will reshuffle, especially when you see Harrison Blitz are also wanting out as well. So could that mean a bigger change if Texas wants out? Well, I guess we'll have to wait and see, because I don't think Steve Parish will buy shares. I don't think he's got the money to do that. Preston says, do you think the club will finally invest the money that they will get from selling on quality selling Andersen on a quality right back and striker? If it was to sell Andersen, then I assume so. But first and foremost, they'll invest that in a centre half, and I don't know how much.
It depends on the level at which they're going to invest in a centre half.
Yeah, 100%. Should we try and take their best player? I don't know if Pete will be happy. Pete's in the chat right now. I mean, who's their best player? Oh, Lyon's. Oh, you're talking about Lyon, not Newcastle. Who is their best player? I don't know.
I mean, that's a good question. I think their most talented player that I think probably has the most potential for moving elsewhere is probably Rayan Cherki. I could see him going somewhere else.
There's also someone in the chat saying Ekitike, he might be available in January. So I guess we'll see.
I've been seeing some stuff about that too. I've been seeing some stuff about that too.
Yeah. You know what it feels like today? It feels like a new dawn. We'll see tomorrow if there's anything coming about. But it's like, Ekitike might be available. Already kind of like planning ahead for January in terms of what players we're going to be talking about.
And it's not like we can't. It's not like we can't negotiate a deal right now. Anyway, like you can negotiate a deal, you just can't move until January. So if it's realistic, it's not like they can't be talking and negotiating it.
Yeah. See, Bruce says Roy Hodgson is the best manager pound for pound. Apparently.
That's nice, Steve. Thank you for saying that, man. It means a lot coming from a manager
Bruce,
with your experience, man.
Yeah, I'm saying no. We'll spend another 20 million pound on a third choice goalkeeper. Energy. We're gonna wrap it up, people, as well in just a second. If you're coming in here just now, make sure to watch the whole show from the start to beginning. Once we wrap up, we'll talk about Joachim Andersen in detail, as well as Jake O'Brien. Energy says, I'm not sure who paid for France and Henderson, but say it was Texas. Does Texas really have regrets if he's still giving us a decent bit of money? Energy, I'll be honest, if a man says he has regrets, I don't know how much
probably means it.
He said that recently as well. Like if he said that he has regrets, then he has regrets. I don't think he's going to change that in the space of a month or so. Like the Athletic interview wasn't too long ago. It was like a month or two ago now. So I guess the regrets were there before and after.
Because I think for him, I think the reason why he's saying he regrets it is because there's a difference between being an investor and being an owner. And I think that Texter got into the Crystal Palace deal and made himself an investor when he should have made himself an owner. I think that's what he's regretting, is not making himself an owner and rather than just making himself a financial investor, because now he doesn't have any say. He's putting money in. He's putting this 60, 70 million in, or like we're just talking about possibly the 40 million that went to França and to Henderson. Yeah, it might be his money, but he wasn't the one that made the call on who it went to or how it was spent. So he's an investor in this situation. His money's being used, but he has no say over what.
I think he has a say, but he doesn't have the say that he wants to have in terms of relative to shares as well. I think he wants more of a say.
At the end of the day, his say couldn't stop us from getting Henderson. His say wasn't going to stop us from signing Matheus França. Now, however, I think he had a lot to do with us getting the opportunity to sign França. But you know what I'm saying? I think it's to an extent what his purview is with this situation, especially comparatively to his other clubs that he's a part of. That's what makes me the most mad, D, is when I see people on Twitter, like when Lyon makes a move or when Molenbeek gets a new player and they spend money and people are like, oh, but Crystal Palace, we don't get to see any of this money. he doesn't care about Crystal Palace. It's like, dog, do you understand how things work? Do you understand structures of ownership and what this man is dealing with? He's not one of the main owners here, so therefore he can't make the shot.
He is one of the main owners.
I mean, but he can't make the shots on who we get and how we go about spending money comparatively to the other clubs. So no, we're not going to move the same way that those other clubs do. And you can't be mad at him. Like, I just don't understand that, man.
Look, we're gonna wrap it up, but Social brings out another point saying he shouldn't really have a say outside funding. You don't want a Bowley. So there's pros and cons to it. Then again, he's invested all that money, so you'd think that he would have more of a say. I guess that's what he's thinking, more of a say, especially if he spent that much money in Palace as well. But look, people, we're gonna wrap it up. It's great to be back here talking about Palace news. It's been a while since we've done regular shows, but we'll see. Maybe this week he changes or he doesn't, depending on what comes out. But if you have enjoyed it, make sure to smash a like button and also subscribe to not miss out on future Palace content. Thank you to every single one of you who's tuning in live and also who's watching on replay. We'll be back also with the match previews, opposition previews if we don't have Palace news tomorrow. So make sure to keep your eyes peeled on that. And until next time, up the Palace and keep safe, people.
Up the Palace.